This picture shows a column failure happened during construction. What is the type of this failure?
Valid point. Compression failure is true.
Fill in the blank. Dash is the systematic process of erecting structures that meet human needs while following specific processes and using available resources.
Great thinking. Construction is the right choice. Large buildings or structures for specific industrial use and not used by the general public steel mills, oil rigs, nuclear power plants. Well reasoned. Industrial construction is the correct choice.
What method of construction is this project?
Perfect. Frame and panel construction is the correct choice. A technical worker in construction and manufacturing industries is paid more than a skilled or semi-skilled worker because they have clear logic. Your choice higher levels of knowledge and skills is sound and 100% true. Structural insulating panels uses a dash sandwiched between two layers of boards as the structural elements for construction. Good thinking. Polymer is the right answer.
What is the primary function of the environmental engineering team during the construction of a wastewater treatment plant?
Right again. Environmental impact assessment is a valid answer.
Which of the following members of the building team carries the greatest level of responsibility on a construction site?
Do. Sharp thinking. Contractor is the right choice.
Which technology solution is used to monitor personal protective equipment compliance on construction sites?
Bravo. Artificial intelligence is the answer.
What is the primary function of the mechanical engineering team during the construction of a manufacturing plant?
You chose designing the plumbing system, and it is correct.
Which technology solution is used for remote vehicle monitoring for predictive maintenance in construction?
Great job. Equipment tracking is the accurate answer.
Which of the following is not an example of how to incorporate sustainability into a construction project?
Smart move. Mass concrete foundation is an accurate answer.
Which of the following is not a suitable construction material for use in permanent domestic foundations?
Strong choice. Timber is the right answer.
What is the main focus of the structural engineering team during the construction of a suspension bridge?
Nice work. You chose designing the foundation, and it is correct.
Oversees the contracts, scheduling, and material delivers and the progress of a large construction job.
Smart pick. Project manager is the correct choice.
What is the main focus of the civil engineering team during the construction of a highway interchange?
Well picked. Traffic flow optimization is the correct answer.
What is the main focus of the environmental engineering team during the construction of a landfill?
Correct. Environmental impact assessment is the right answer.
Which sector of the construction industry involves building apartment complexes and shopping malls?
Correct response. Commercial building is the most accurate answer.
Which sector of the construction industry involves building water treatment plants and pipelines?
Excellent choice. Infrastructure and heavy construction is the right answer.
Construction is a systemic process. Which of the selections below is not in the proper sequence?
Nicely done. Completing the site, building the framework, installing utilities is a solid answer. What is the main requirement for substructures and superstructures in construction technology? You got it. Your choice strength and stability is right.
Which sector of the construction industry involves steel mills and chemical processing plants?
On track. Industrial is the correct answer. Which sector of the construction industry includes office buildings, schools, and hospitals? Good job. Your answer, commercial building, works well here.
What is the purpose of a telescopic air vent in a ground floor beam and block construction?
You're right. To provide ventilation to the subfloor void is the correct answer. In an adobe cob construction, which of the following could be used to construct the bricks?
Solid response. All that are listed is a valid choice.
Which technology solution is used for monitoring temperature levels on construction sites? Well done. Temperature sensors is the right choice. Which of the following would not be used in the construction of a suspended timber floor?
Nice selection. Sand blinding is the correct and valid answer.
What is the main purpose of the environmental engineering team during road construction?
Excellent. Environmental impact assessment is a brilliant choice.
Which sector of the construction industry involves building sports stadiums and arenas?
Exactly. Commercial building makes sense, and it is right choice. What is the disadvantage of timber frame construction in terms of timber maintenance?
Right choice. It moves with changes in climatic conditions is the best answer.
Which sector of the construction industry involves building highways and expressways? Exactly. Infrastructure and heavy construction makes sense, and it is right choice.
Which technology solution is used for monitoring soil quality on construction sites? Valid point. Soil quality sensors is true. Name one sustainable construction practice that helps reduce environmental impact. Smart pick. Using recycled or sustainable materials is the correct choice. What is the estimated construction time for a 150 sqm house by Natural Log House? Well reasoned. Approximately 6 months is the correct choice. Who would set the depth of concrete for the foundations and floor construction? Nice work. You chose structural engineer, and it is correct.
What is the purpose of the damp-proof membrane in timber frame construction? Good job. Your answer? To prevent moisture ingress prior to plasterboarding works. Well here. What is the purpose of a soil test in civil engineering during construction? Perfect. To evaluate the soil condition for stability is the correct choice.
What is the advantage of off-site construction in timber frame construction?
Great thinking. It results in greater efficiency of manufacture is the right choice.
What is the disadvantage of in situ concrete skeleton frame construction? Excellent. It takes longer time to construct is a brilliant choice. The process of building a structure on the location where it will be used. You chose construction, and it is correct. Why is it important to follow construction safety measures on a job site? Right again? To prevent accidents and injuries is a valid answer. What are the three main types of building materials used in construction?
Good thinking. Wood, concrete, and steel is the right answer.
What is the main focus of Chapter 1 in the Building Technology course? On track. Site introduction and safety concern is the correct answer. What is the purpose of building structures in construction technology? You're right. To contain, shelter, manufacture, transport, communicate, provide recreation is the correct answer. Which of the following jobs is not a part of construction technology? Right choice. Accountant is the best answer. What is the definition of superstructures in construction technology? Clear logic. Your choice, all parts of a structure above ground floor level, is sound and 100% true. Which of the following are standards used in building construction? Smart move. ANSI, BSI ISO standards is an accurate answer. How does Lugs Construction help in maintaining indoor air quality? Strong choice. Does not emit toxic molds and fungi is the right answer. Which of the following would not be a type of floor construction? You got it. Your choice, solid brickwork, is right. Wooden boards placed underneath a structure to support the floor. Bravo. Floor frame skeleton is the answer. How fast could a building be constructed using Lale's technology? Well done. 1/5 the time of traditional buildings is the right choice. What is the function of a stiffener in building construction? Great job. To strengthen a wall exceeding 3 meters in length is the accurate answer. What are some examples of innovative construction materials? Correct response. Carbon fiber, self-healing concrete, translucent wood, aerogel insulation is the most accurate answer. Which of the following term is one of the IBI's terminologies? Well picked. Modular buildings is the correct answer. What name is given the floor construction that is not fixed? Excellent choice. Floating is the right answer. A drawing that represents a view looking down on an object. Correct. Plan view is the right answer. Dash is the underlying base or basic framework of a system. Nice selection. Infrastructure is the correct and valid answer. What component is found in solid ground floor construction? Nicely done. DPM is a solid answer. What is the environmental impact of using steel framing? Solid response. Reduces construction waste is a valid choice. The main purpose of a soffit in roof construction is to sharp thinking. Protect the eaves of the property is the right choice. The knowledge and techniques used to build structures. Sharp thinking. Construction technology is the right choice. Which of the following are the properties of the wood? Solid response. All of these is a valid choice. When does the construction date of this bridge start? Nicely done. 8th November 2008 is a solid answer. What is the primary purpose of beams in construction? Strong choice. To support ceilings and floors is the right answer. person hired to complete certain construction tasks. Well done. Subcontractor is the right choice. What is the advantage of timber frame construction? On track. It has a high thermal performance insulation is the correct answer. What technology do the iLock acoustic panels use? Well reasoned. FUFDR technology is the correct choice. What is the key benefit of using LGF technology? Right again. Latest state-of-the-art process equipment is a valid answer. What is the main advantage of LGF technology?
You chose fast construction and ease of installation, and it is correct.
The location where a structure is to be built. Great job. Construction site is the accurate answer. A loan for the purchase of any building. Correct response. Mortgage is the most accurate answer. Ensuring a building is energy efficient.
Excellent. Will reduce the building's impact on the environment is a brilliant choice.
The role of a quantity surveyor is to. Well picked. Prepare a bill of qualities is the correct answer. The first stage of a construction is. You're right. Initiation of proposal is the correct answer. What is the purpose of a foundation? Smart move. To spread the load and provide a stable base is an accurate answer. What is civil construction? Exactly. The building of roads and bridges makes sense and it is right choice. Where is a DPC placed? Perfect. In the course of brick or block is the correct choice. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format. Correct. Contact Narayan Changda is the right answer.